You on 10, I'm on 12. I count it up, I break the scales. I'm in your crib, I'm on the shelves. I'm in these streets, all by myself.
How's everybody doing today? I'm your host, Andy, on Ask Your Brown Friend, where I talk about, questions people may ask me or stories I may have heard dealing with ethnicity, stereotypes, things of that nature, So to get everybody refreshed with the basics, asphalt is black, copy paper is white, my skin is brown. So I talk about ethnicity based on my own complexion. So if you're not brown like me, so if you're brown like me or darker, I'm going to consider you, brown or dark skin. And if you are lighter than me, I'm going to consider you light skin. Right? So we're going to get that out the way. So today, I was with a colleague, and to keep the anonymity going, I'm going to call him the teacher, aka the guitar man. And I was having a conversation, and he's like, "Man, how was your holidays?" And then we're just trading, how was the holidays and things of that nature. And he's like, he hears some Christmas music, and he starts smiling, and he was like, "Man, hearing Christmas music reminds me of my crazy old man." And so, him being like 20 years older than me, I want to hear about his crazy old man. So he's like, I'm like, "Yeah, for real? Like what?" And he's like, "Yeah, my dad would change the names or words in songs to fit his, his personality and behavior." I'm like what? He was like, "I'm dreaming of a white son-in-law, kind of like the guy that lives next door." And I started busting out laughing because this guy is like one of the coolest people I've met in my life. And actually, he's the guy who taught me my profession. Actually, he was like the first guy to ever introduce me into what I do for a living to make gainful employment, which I am appreciative to him. So hats off to the band man, aka the teacher. So as I'm poking in pride, you know what I mean? Because I'm a talkative person. I'm like, that's what's up, man. So he's like, yeah, he was like, you want to hear how crazy my childhood was? I'm like, yeah, go ahead, tell me something. He's like, well, you really want to know? I'm like, yeah, tell me. So he's like, when I was a kid, growing up, I thought that every brown person was named the N-word because that was used so much in my household. He's like, man, I even got kicked out of kindergarten. I was like, what? Who gets kicked out of kindergarten? He's like, I got kicked out of kindergarten for using the N-word. And he explained to me, and this was so to the point, but it was just like so bad. He was like explaining to me, he's like, hey, I made this friend, I didn't see anything wrong with anybody, growing up because, that's just how I am. I'm like, that's what's up. So he's the pioneer, aka the explorer in his family, where he didn't care about race or ethnicity because he's a kid. So he's like, this kid in my class, I think his name was Dan. He's one of my good friends. Every time it was time to team up or partner, me and him would get together, and we would do projects and stuff. And he's like, man, I want to bring Dan home to the house, but I don't know how my parents are going to react, So he never did that. And he was telling me how he ended up getting kicked out of school in like the kindergarten, which is crazy. And it went something like, he was like, well, we were doing a project, and they had gave us like graphing paper to use instead of like your regular, a lineless paper, to do some artwork on. And we were doing it. And, I drew the Eiffel Tower, and I'm like, that's what's up, Teach. The teacher drew the Eiffel Tower. I mean, if you knew the guy, like I know the guy, this guy's very smart. He's super intelligent. So if he told me he drew the Eiffel Tower when he was like 6, I believe the man. So he's like, yeah, I'll look over at my buddy, he's drawing something, but I really can't tell what it is. And he goes, he's like, I'm excited, I can't wait till the teacher, gets my drawing. She's going to show it off to everybody. So he goes, yeah, she's collecting papers. I'm looking around. I look down at my desk and I go, where's my paper? I just see this drawing that looked like the one that Dan drew. And Dan is ripping this man's name off his paper. And he goes, teacher, this in it's taking my work. And I'm like, oh my God. It was right on time with what happened. Like he said, it wasn't the proper word to use. So I thought that was the most hilarious stuff I heard today. Shout out to the teacher, aka the band man, for telling me this story. That was like one of the best things I heard all day. And to get back on the serious note though, like the best thing about being who I am is that people talk to me, because I'm not one of those people. I don't draw conclusions at the end of words. I draw conclusions by understanding and knowing, and that's how we all should be, And because this man happens to be an open-minded person, every person in his family after him has expanded their horizons. Even some of his children are with people from other ethnicities, you know what I mean? And having a light-skinned friend and mentor, that grew up in adversity like that, you know what I mean? I think that's like really, really, you know what I'm saying, a good thing that, he didn't go down the wrong path like most of us do when we hear stereotypes. So basically, stay communicating, ask people things, talk to people, get out there. If you heard crazy things, like, I'm gonna tell you guys something I heard back in the day. A light-skinned group of people known as Polish people, I'm going to say, because this is the first racial anything I ever heard as a child, that they can't count. And I'm like, what? Some of the smartest engineers I ever worked with in my life happen to be from Poland. And matter of fact, they make some of the best liquor, if y'all didn't know. So, stereotypes happen to all of us, and we all have lived with them and lived around them. So be that explorer in your family or in your group or in your friend circle. Get out there and engage with people. Y'all stay safe and take care. I'm Andy on Ask Your Brown Friend. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up.